As far as we can tell, the average Roman lived between 20 and 30 years. Therefore, the 1900 mortality rate of 31 years was not all that different from that period. But in the 20th century, things began to shift. Welcome to USA Stories channel. Do not forget to subscribe and activate the bell button to receive all new updates. Now let's go to the story. The average life expectancy rose to 48 years by 1950, and then to 71.5 years by 2014. Furthermore, an increasing number of us will live to be 100 years old. At 122 years and 164 days old when she passed away in 1997, French woman Jeanne Calment holds the record for the oldest securely reported age. Madame Calment said that she had memories of Vincent van Gogh stopping by her father's business. Her age will probably continue to be a remarkable occurrence for years to come, although there are definitely becoming more and more centenarians. In recent years, the number of centenarians has increased annually by about 5.5% in the developing world. Compute the numbers. Every 13 years, the number of people who reach 100 doubles. By 2050, there will be 4.1 million centenarians worldwide if the current trend holds true and no asteroid hits Earth before then. In 1980, 32,194 persons in the United States were 100 years of age or older. The figure more than quadrupled to 72,197 by 2014. Professor Fanny Jensen of the University of Groningen explained this astounding rise to the Daily Mail by stating that people are living longer than ever before and will continue to do so due to advancements in medical care, including statins and antibiotics, as well as improvements in socioeconomic conditions, living standards, and housing. Jan Langer, a photographer, is one individual who has been particularly intrigued by this rise in lifespan. Given that he was born in 1978, it will take him quite some time to reach his 100th birthday. The Czech Republic's Opava, a historic city that has been there since at least 1195, is where Langer was born. After completing studies in anthropology, international relations, and Spanish at university, he currently works as a professional photographer specializing in portrait and documentary photography out of Prague, the capital of the Czech Republic. In addition, Langer works on special projects. The one we're examining now is called Faces of Century. The basic idea behind Langer's fascinating effort is to combine an image of a person as they were when he first met them with an old photo of them when they were younger. Every one of his subjects had reached the significant age of 100. On his website, Langer notes that there are already around 1,200 centenarians in the Czech Republic. In 50 years, that figure will rise to 14,000 people. Langer conjectures about the psychological effects of time and how they are manifested in the faces of the people he takes pictures of. As he states, it appears as though individual nature stays anchored in the abyss of time, even though personality traits change throughout life. Now let's look at these striking pairings of portraits. Ludvík Čihák. When Langer met Ludvík Čihák, he was living in a retirement community in Zlín, Czech Republic, where he was born in 1908. He is 102 in the portrait on the right. In this ancient photo, he is 20 years old. He was a competent confectioner when it was taken. He subsequently became a postman, but his daily circuit was ingrained in his memory. He mentioned that he didn't visit his family very much and that his connection with them was poor. In her left-hand portrait, Bedřiška Kolárová seems to be 26 years old, whereas in her right-hand portrait, she is 103 years old. Her early portrait was shot at her wedding. She was born in Marino in northern Italy. She was an accountant by trade, and at the time of Langer's photograph, she was residing in a retirement community in Brno, the second largest city in the Czech Republic. Kolárová never had children, and her only goal was to make one final trip to her home country of Italy. Vincent Schetelina. Vincent Schetelina is 30 years old in this older shot, and it appears that he has finished building his home. It should come as no surprise that he worked in construction. He is 105 years old and was born in the Czech town of Lovosice nad Chidlinou in 1906. He was still living in his own house despite his advanced age. His hobbies are described by Schetelina as calm and peace. The 8 years he spent in prison for his role as a district commissioner during World War II were his most vivid recollection. This suggests that he was likely considered to have collaborated with the Nazis throughout the war. Antonin Kovar, born in 1906 in the northern part of the Czech Republic, Antonin Kovar was 102 years old when Langer photographed his portrait. He is 25 years old in the older photo, which was shot while he was a bandmaster in charge of his own group. In addition to being a musician, Kovar worked as a driver and a movie projector during his career. At the Czech city of Hustopecha, he resided at an elderly person's home at the time Langer took his picture. Kovar's daily activities included reading papers and enjoying music, and he had daily visits from his daughter. His fondest recollections were of his musical career and his happy marriage. All he wanted was to be able to play the clarinet again. Anna Vasova, residing in a retirement community in Sloop Nice, Czech Republic. At the age of 102, Anna Vasova was shown in the photo on the right. She was born in Zidorek nad Dubravu, a town in Czechoslovakia, in 1909. Vasova, who is 22 years old in the picture on the left, just got married. She worked as an agricultural laborer on the 1948 communist collectivized farms. She read romance novels all day long when Langer took her picture. She had pleasant memories of performing Russian music. The recollection of her spouse being taken hostage by the Nazis was not one of happiness. After she died, she wanted to see him again, Stanislav Spasil. At the time of the left-hand photo, Stanislav Spasil was a talented electrical engineer and an attractive young man of 17 years old. In 1908, he was born in the Czech Republic's South Moravian region in the town of Polica. Spasil, seen on the right, is 102 years old and still resides in his own house in a South Moravian hamlet with his daughter. His only desire was that he and his daughter would both be in excellent health. Anna Pospisilova, shown on the right, at exactly 100 years old, Anna Pospisilova was born in the Czech hamlet of Varbite in 1910. She was another of Langer's subjects who worked as a farmhand in Czechoslovakia's collectivized farms, before to the country's breakup from Slovakia following the collapse of communism. In the left-hand photograph, she looked 30 years old. Her brief response to Langer's query about her wish was to die, which left a lasting impression. She did, however, have a daughter who paid her daily visits. Anastas Baldrian was 17 years old when the photo on the left was shot. He was born in the Czech village of Adamov in 1910. He had jobs as a clerk and a locksmith. When Langer took his picture, he was residing in a retirement community and was 101 years old. He had a daughter who came to see him twice a week, and he spent his days in Glasgow reading the news. His only hope was for serenity as he thought fondly of his former co-workers. Marie Burasova. Born in 1910, the woman on the left is seen when she was 23 years old and married. She was a butcher by trade. When Burasova was 101 years old, she was still residing in her own apartment in Zlín, Czech Republic, when Langer took her photo. Spending time with her family was her favorite thing to do after she retired. The moment the communists took over the company she owned was her most memorable experience. Vlasta Siskova. Vlasta Siskova was still living in her own house at the age of 101 when Langer snapped her picture. Siskova is 23 years old in this early shot. In the Votis settlement, she was employed as a cook in the dining room of a tiny airfield. She can still clearly recall being in the vehicle in 1943 when it unintentionally ran over Klaus Heydrich, who was 7 years old. His father was the despised Nazi German Reinhard Heydrich, who governed the Czechs until his murder in Prague in 1942. She also remembered her brother being taken into custody by the communists in 1948, and Russian soldiers visiting her house following the fall of the Nazis. Ludmila Visnarova. Her fiancé received a present from her when she was 23 years old, a left-hand picture. She lived in her own house, characterized her interests as sweeping snow, cutting wood, and doing housework, and was 101 years old when Langer took her picture. She was born in 1912. She cherished her memories of her late husband, who passed over 60 years before Langer ever met her. She had never remarried. Prokop Vejda. Born in 1909, Prokop Vejda was 22 years old and had recently entered in the army when the left-hand photo was shot. Vejda was a metallurgical engineer who was 101 years old when Langer met him. He informed Langer that he enjoyed cutting circular saws as a pastime while residing on the family farm. He claimed that warm, fresh goat milk was the memory that stayed with him the longest. Marie Feyfrova. Since Langer's picture collection only includes a photograph of Marie Feyfrova at 101 years old, it is instantly clear that it differs greatly from the others. To clarify, Langer explains that she relocated to the care facility in Prague, where he met her after burning all of her letters, diaries, and photos when she turned 101. She loved to read both English and French literature. She recalled sheltering in the same coal bunker in 1939 and 1945 from the Russians and the Nazis. She expressed her desire to go to sleep and never wake up again. Please remember to subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos. If you enjoyed the tale, the next video that plays on your screen will probably move you too.